Hey everybody, this is Devil Dog underscore 88. Welcome, welcome. Happy Saturday morning. Damn it, we needed a break, no doubt. So where's all the devil pups in the channel? Let's get it, everybody. Let's have that conversation. Welcome, welcome, everybody. This is Devil Dog underscore 88. April's in the house. Good morning, April. Oh, thank God it's Saturday. No doubt. Saturday the 2nd, May 2nd. Seems like these days are just coming too fast. Woo. So, yesterday we had a great day. Our numbers are climbing really well. Carolina girl says, "Good morning, you all." We've been growing very, very rapidly. That I can tell you. I know I told you I'd have some numbers for you, and I will get those numbers to you. Just that right now, it's the least of my worries, to be honest. Bridget's in the house. Good morning. The Miss is in the house. Good morning, The Miss. Chilly in Alabama. Whew. It's nice over here in Ohio. The rain has finally stopped, at least for a couple days. But here come next week, all week it's gonna rain. So I think that April shower thing has just kind of like literally expanded its time. So we're definitely going to be wet. Paige is in the house. Good to have you, Paige. Good to have you all. So, what we want to talk about today? Well, it's a lot of things to talk about, obviously, but one of the things we want to talk about is another person of interest, which would be what do you all think of Ronald Lopez, person of interest? This is the man that had called in supposedly on a streamer live, and in the process they were discussing the facts of whether or not uh, the porch person was a girl or not. Good morning, DD, and everyone, says Bill. Good morning, Bill. Actually, Fox and Friends week just did a segment in the Guthrie case. All interesting. Page, yes, Lopez, says Page. In my opinion, no doubt, no doubt. So the discussion is that he was on a streamer and came out, and they were talking, having a talk. He was on a stream, Demas. He was on a streamer's. He called into a streamer live, and they were talking about if the front porch person was a female. They all were saying that it looked like a lot of the callers and the people in the stream were saying that they believed that the caller or the person in the front porch was a female. And then out of nowhere, he calls in and he says, "I am not a female," and kind of got everybody caught off guard. Everybody kind of paused. And it was one of those moments where everybody said, he didn't say, "I don't think it's a female." He didn't say, "I don't think it's a girl." He said, "I am not a female." And said it in a way like he was a little bit bothered by the fact that people would think that person was a female. Now, I highly doubt that he planned to say that. I highly doubt that he literally planned to go that route. Okay? Because I think that was a slip up, in my opinion. Vima says, I do recall some chatter about that. Now, let's dive into that a little bit because normally, if you are somebody that has done something and your whole premise is not just for the money, not just for anything other than because you want attention, and someone is not giving you that attention. Good morning, Rosemary. And someone's not giving you that attention, and you want people to know exactly who you are without giving your name, and you slip up and say, I am not a female, or I am not a girl. I forgot what he said, one of those two. I think he said, I am not a female. He is not, the Porch guy is not a female. However, he stated it gave that indication that he was talking about himself. He was kind of frustrated. Bridget, I've said it looks like a female in the eyes, but some men do have feminine looking eyes. That is true. That is very true. Bridget says, I don't know anything about Ronald Lopez. Yeah, Ronald Lopez, not Perez, Lopez. Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting to know. It's interesting to know that he would come out and say that openly. And it got everybody's attention. And I think there was even with this streamer, there was even a medium that was there. And they were shocked because they were like, say that again? Everybody caught it, especially the medium and the streamer. And I just cannot remember who the streamer was. Oh. But literally to say, I am not a female. That's interesting. No problem, no problem, Bridget. So, is that something that you would expect normally to be said? Is that something that you think is something that normally would come out of somebody's mouth? Or do you think that was more to deal with being frustrated that no one was giving him his just credit for what he had done? Lisa says, in my opinion, law enforcement has RL on their radar. Yeah, it would make sense to me. He definitely would be a person of interest that we need to talk to, right? Or that not we, but the FBI or the investigators. Lisa Pay says, the FBI, yes. The investigators definitely need to talk to him because these little accidents, remember I told you it was always the little things? These little accidents don't happen in a vacuum. They happen because someone gets frustrated that they're not getting that attention or that credit for what they have done. That's usually how it goes. They are hoping RL messes up. They might be. And when you look at a picture of RL, he does have the same look as a porch guy. So it's not like it's anything out of the norm. Paige says, I'm hoping too. Vima says, I would hope. Bill, it just doesn't make sense why he would say that. And yet, honestly, I don't know much about anything about Lopez. Nothing other than when he called in. And I don't think it was staged. I don't think he was trying to like confuse people. No, I think he literally came out because he was angry. Because the way he said it, and I heard it, it sounded very, very frustrated type. Paige says white Kia. Expand on that, Paige. Give us a little bit more information on the white Kia. Tell them about the fence scene dog. Okay, so he looked like the guy, and I'm not saying it's him, I'm just saying he looks like the guy. Good morning. Good morning, cat lady. Also, I hope that the FBI is looking into Richard. Also, even if he may be mentally ill, no, that's a possibility. But let's stay focused on Lopez here, because remember the porch guy. Remember the guy that was trying to get. Remember the guy that was trying to get in the back of the gate. He had that similar look. And the guy that was trying to get to the back gate of that house, where the house owners called the police and they came out and they spoke to this guy. And he said he was just trying to put his equipment in the back of his fence, but he was having a hard time with the latch. Apparently they bought the story because they left, supposedly. They left, and you could see the cop car leaving. I did see that. But then, as he's finagling with the fence, when the cop leaves, he slowly walks the opposite direction towards that white Kia Soul. Remember that Doug on live Northport? He had expanded that video, and you could see there was a white Kia Soul right here in the corner. He walked right towards that car. So you have to remember there was a white Kia Soul that had driven by that was hauling ass, literally, during the time that Nancy was taken. And then crickets, no doubt, Paige. And then crickets after the fence scene pertaining to RL. No doubt, 100%. And the problem with that is that no one really talked about it. And here's what was disturbing is that later the owner had come out and said that guy, because that guy had told the police apparently that he did not, that he lived there, right? Well, then all of a sudden, the owner comes out and says, that guy doesn't live here. He was trying to break into my home. He does not live here. And it was almost like the mic dropping. And then the question became for me was, well, did the officer make contact? He made contact, but did he get his information, who he is, his name, where he lives, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Because we didn't hear nothing about it. I mean, absolutely nothing. It just like it just died. It wasn't even brought up. Yes, we miss White Kia Soul. April, welcome in. Oh, thanks for being here. Don't forget to hit the like button for DD. Click that like, everybody. Make sure you hit the like button. If you're new and you want to be a devil pup investigator in this channel, please subscribe for free. Doesn't cost you anything. Get those algorithm numbers up. Just start tapping them. Send them emojis. Let's make it happen, everybody. So everybody kind of was like, I was like, oh my God, I hope. Because normally when a cop comes up and he pulls up on somebody, and it's a suspicious call, suspicious activity, a call of something like that nature, the officer would have got out, said, "Hey, how you doing? Well, what's your name? And then he would have ascertained his name. He would have wrote down in his little book. He would have said, "Hey," he said, so we got a call here of somebody trying to get onto a fence. Oh no, officer, that was my that's my house. I was just trying to put some stuff in the back. Oh, okay. Well, what's your name? And they would ask him his name. And do you got any identification? They would have got his identification, and they probably would have just ran him if he had any wants or warrants, because that's usually what cops do. When they go to stop somebody, they always ask, they always check just in case there's a want or a warrant. They call them wants and warrants. And so that's normal. But because it was so early in the morning, and it was only like a half a mile or so away from Nancy Guthrie's home where this happened, or somewhere in that effect. It was only like 10 minutes away walking to Nancy Guthrie's or something to that effect of walking. It just put everything in context, right? It made everything seem so clear on what was happening. And then That's how an officer would have handled that. He would have got out. He would have ascertained. He would have asked for some identification. He would have said, "Hey, okay." And if not got any, if let's just say the guy didn't have identification, he would have said, "Okay, well, what's your name and date of birth?" Because they can run your name and date of birth. They just call it in and say, "Hey, can you check name and by name and date of birth?" And then they'll give you the information, and then they'll go ahead and call you back and tell you, "Wow."
They dropped it to 263.
And so that's how that operates. That's how that goes. So, but here's the thing. What makes me wonder if, in fact, they didn't get a name or they didn't even get any information on where he lived, right? Is that everything became silent. Because you haven't heard anything about this very often, if at all, after that one initial comment. You know what I mean? All right, let me go read some of these real quick. In my opinion, is the last person who's seen a person. I agree with that, cat lady. And we're not, make no mistake, we're not ruling anybody out that we've already talked about. We're just trying to go through each person, each potential person of interest. We're not ruling anybody that we've already talked about. We're just continuing that narrative. Bill says, continuing to retire supervisory agent on Fox News pointed again to the day in having the FBI called in and the removal of the crime scene tape prematurely. Other than that, nothing else news. Thank you very much, Bill. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you. Everything became radio silent. So then I asked myself, well, why would that die down during the time that that happened, right? And I'm thinking outside the box. Why would that happen? And the only thing that came to my mind was maybe they didn't have any. Maybe that officer didn't get any information. It was early in the moment. Maybe he was just tired. Maybe he just forgot to ask. Maybe he just was like, okay, all right, well, we just want to go ahead and check it out. Got on the radio, said, hey, 23 dispatch, be advised, made contact with the individual. He lives there, 10-8. And that was the end of that. Because that's how it would happen if he forgot. Or if he just was too tired to know what he was really there for, right? It was a call of someone trying to get into the guy's back fence. So, once again, nothing takes away from everybody else that we've talked about already. This is just another individual that we look at as a person of interest. Then crickets after the fence scene. No doubt about it, Paige. No doubt about it. So, and I'm wondering, why did it go silent? What fence scene says Charlotte? Remember the guy that was trying to get to the back of the fence? He had two backpacks and he was putting his hands over the top trying to unlatch the latch. And it looked like he wanted to, it appeared that he wanted to put one of the backpacks over the fence. And as he was doing that, someone had called law enforcement and they came out there and they made contact with him. You remember that? That happened. Yes, this was the guy that literally pointed out by oh god, I just lost his train of thought. By the streamer Doug Gones Live Northport, where he showed you a picture of one of his backpacks and it looked like it had a red stain on the side, and it looked like the color blood, like of that color. That was the guy we're talking about. And then everything went radio silence. Give me a water. Thanks. Continuing the retired supervisory agent. Bye, love you. Continuing the agent of the appointed agent again. The delay have okay having the delay in having the FBI call in and the removal of the crime scene. Yeah, that was a bad mistake, Bill. No doubt about it. That was not good. All right, try to catch up, everybody. Just give me a second. Good morning, Melissa. Lisa says FBI isn't ignoring RL, in my opinion. The opposite. It may be. They may be on something. But you haven't heard really a whole lot about him. You know what I mean? Other than that incident. Hello, FBI, if you're watching, says Paige. Melissa, Lisa, April, the Hearts, Cat Lady. What about their collect? He's still on our list, at the top of our list, in my list anyway. That doesn't change. We're just talking about other people of interest. We're trying to cover everybody within this circle that we have talked about because they very well could have, they very well could be that potential suspect. So, see ya. So that's the whole thing. It's not that just because we're talking about somebody else means that we moved on. It just means that we're covering everybody, giving everybody that due diligence of finding out what was their purpose, what was their MO, what was their modus operandi. That's all we're saying. So don't get confused just because we're not saying anything about Derek Kalela. He's on top of a lot of people's list, no doubt about it. Bill, thanks, DD. You welcome, buddy. Thank you. Gronsky, good morning. Good morning, Gronsky. Billboards. Oh, did you watch much of JLR's coverage after it happened? Just curious. After what happened, Bill? After that incident? Melissa, Robert Lopez. Ronald Robert Lopez, I think was his name, his full name. Ronald Robert Lopez or Robert Ronald. No, I think it's Ronald Robert Lopez. Yes, that's him. That's the one, Melissa. Listening, I did not know about the call RL made. Yeah, it was on somebody's live. We actually heard it, and it was interesting because he out of the blue said something to that effect. Now, I did look it up, and they said that there was no validity. You know, it was that the Chat GPT and all this that there was nothing that was verified. But I'm telling you, we heard the call. I watched the call. I heard his name. I heard everything that was said. But yeah, that was the whole thing. I've been watching Dog live ever since Gabby Pete missed, but he never lied anymore lately, says Melissa. He was just on live just the other night, a couple of days in a row. I've seen him on live. I just didn't go to him because he's in Florida. He's doing his thing in Florida. But if you go to one of the cases where he talks about the backpack of the perp, he's got his video up there. You can see it. It's got several videos. Bill says, Melissa, hi. Lisa, who knows? It could be a total stranger to Nancy, and we're way off base. Who knows? But we're trying. Well, yeah, no doubt. We're doing our best here. The fact of the matter is, we're just pointing out people who seem to have something affiliated with this case. Somebody who would literally stand out. And to me, that stands out. I don't know about you all, but to me, that stands out big time. Progress. Not perfection. Cat lady, sleuth intuition. What about sleuth intuition, cat lady? Billboards. He streamed live for a long time after the incident happened. JLR had a lot watching on YouTube. Thank you very much, Billboard. I knew it was somebody. I just couldn't remember who. But thank you so much. So apparently it happened on JLR was going ahead and he was doing a live on that. Cat lady, isn't that where you heard Richard talking? Isn't that where you heard Richard? Sleuth, yes. I don't want to get confused, everybody. Yes, that's where we heard Richard talking, was on Sleuth, but we're not talking about Richard. We're talking about Ronald Lopez. We're just talking about different people. But you're right. Yes, Sleuth was the one that had Richard talking. That is correct. But Ronald Lopez, why it interests me is because everything went silent after that. You didn't hear anything. You saw the videos, you saw the pictures, you saw the still pictures that they had of him. It was all over. But you just didn't hear nothing more. Like no one wanted to talk about it. Like it just kind of just fell to the wayside. You know, kind of like even like Kalela. When Kalela went ahead and first came out, everybody said, "Oh, he's not involved in anything. He just tried to capitalize." And then all of a sudden, when Sleuth makes the connection and Monk go ahead and finishes it off, then everything is a little bit more clear. You know what I mean? JLR introduced me to several other guest streamers, and he did offer up a route she thinks the perps might have taken, says Falls, from Nancy's house. This was done during a group chat with neighbors. Interesting. Melissa, hey, Bill. Lisa, Falls. Interesting, Falls, no doubt. So that's what I'm saying. It's just people that seem to have something with this case. Not sure who did what was done, but the idea of putting all that information together. This is now, if it's boggling our mind and it's making you confusing, what do you think it's doing to the FBI? What do you think it's doing to them? They're just human beings as well. Now, granted, they got training, they got knowledge, they got all that good stuff, but still, it's a lot. You know what I mean? And so there is that sense of if it's you think you're confused, what do you think about them being confused? Trying to follow all them yarn strings going to this name and this person and that person. It takes a lot of work. Kudos to them, no doubt. Falls, Amy did offer up a route, she said. Yes. Bill, enjoy your day, guys. See you soon. All right, Bill. Good to have you. Thank you for that update. Cat Lady, I've never heard of Lopez, nor have I seen the picture of Lopez. Well, you need to go to Doug Gone Live, Northport, and watch that video with the double pack guy. Watch the video with the guy with the double packs trying to get into that fence, and then you'll have seen it. Then you'll say you watched it because that's who had it. Falls, Lisa, Cat. Some here new news to me, says April. Do you guys watch at all by any chance? Do you guys watch Doug uh, Doug Gone Live Northport? Does anyone of you guys watch that by any chance? I'm just curious because he's a streamer and he's had some very good information. I mean, solid information. Because that's what you need to check, April, and anyone else who hasn't seen that. Go to Doug Gone Live Northport. He's out of Florida, and he puts a lot of these videos together. And that was one of them that he had put together. Bridget, yes, JLR made several live videos talking about all the people we suspect. He sure did. Thank you, Bridget. Lisa, I don't bash anyone ever unless they bash me the first time, though two wrongs don't make a right. Don't know where that's going, Lisa. I'm human. Venus, I never heard of Doug. Doug is a streamer, very well known, very good streamer. When you go out, look at Doug Gone Live Northport. Doug Gone Live Northport. And then you will have seen Doug. And look at his videos. You will be surprised, you will be shocked at some of the stuff he has put together. April, no Didi, but we'll check him out. Thank you, April. Appreciate that. Check it out, cat lady. Check it out, April. Doug, Doug, Doug Gone Live Northport. You can probably Google it if you have another computer or something there. You'll see what I'm talking about. Matter of fact, hang on a second, everybody. Hang on a second. Give me 1 second. Don't go nowhere. Give me 1 second. Doug Gone Live Northport. Doug Gone Live Northport. This is Doug Gone Live Northport. Just so y'all can see. See that? Doug Gone Live Northport. And this is the guy. Look at what has his top list. Confessions Gone Live. That's the guy we're talking about right there. That's the guy we're talking about. You guys see it? And this is going to actually be the video that talks about. You got this one here, Nancy confession made online. That one right there. Okay, and then you got this one here. The very last one says evidence of blood. So check that out. Doug Gone Live Northport. I'm telling you, it is very interesting, to say the least. He did a magnificent job. Yuli's in the house. Carolina girl. Falls. They are also probably going to pull camera footage from the Uber driver for sure to see what's the camera, since there is a rear facing camera in their cars, no doubt. Okay, yes, I plan on. Thank you so much, Vivas. just wanted to give you guys show you that who I was talking about, so there wasn't any confusion. Falls. I would hope by now they have already pulled that. You would think, right? Me too. Gronsky. I never watched Dad's Gone Live too much. He has the overnight streamer. Yeah, this is Doug though. This one's Doug. Don't get confused with Dad. This guy here is Doug Gone Live. I'm just saying in case you're confused. Look at the top. Doug Gone Live, not Dad's. Sounds like an older gentleman, to be honest. An older streamer. That's who he sounds like. Fall says, I'm headed out picking up a friend from the airport. We are going to see Foghat and Nazareth. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy. Enjoy, Falls. God bless you. Thank you for being here. Lisa, it's a beautiful day to find Nancy, no doubt. Lisa, rock on, Falls. April, okay, Falls, have a wonderful day. So you guys see what I'm saying? These are the people that we're talking about. This is the person that I'm talking about. And hopefully you'll check it out because, I mean, if anything, he deserves a lot of credit for everything he has gone. And when I scroll next, then he talks about the same guy at the fence line and how one of his backpacks had that red blood stain on it, as he put it. Looked like blood stain. Right back at you. Love you too, Falls. You guys have a good one. So that's now, I think that would be more familiar. Once you watch that, you'll understand more about like what was going on. Click that like, everybody. Click that like if you like the live. Do me that favor. Before you leave, Falls, click that like. Hit those emojis. Let's make it happen, everybody. Got to get those algorithms going. Tap, 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 tap. There is so much live footage and confusing to reference it affect. Oh, I agree. I agree. I totally agree, Gronsky. I can see how that was overmissed. There's some things that I even overmissed. So, hey, yeah, no doubt. But I found his thing and I really enjoyed it because he is really sharp. He puts a lot of time into it. And it's just amazing when you see the stuff that he comes up with. And it's all right there, videos, right? And how he was the one that expanded the lens for us to be able to see that white Kia Soul. And how coincidence was that this guy who's trying to get into somebody's backyard, right, with two backpacks, same type of jacket as the perp at the front door of Nancy, okay, same type of jacket, same guy or same type of jacket the guy wore in the front of Nancy's porch, and then to boot a backpack that looks like it's got a red, almost like a red blood coming down the side, not dripping, just like soaked. Well, we know Nancy was bleeding, right? Just makes you wonder what the hell really happened. Paige says, I lack common sense. Gronsky will have to check this one out. Yes. Mary, hi guys. Melissa, yes, dog. A genius love. Yes, Doug, a genius love. Lisa, this is why I ignore R, but that's just me. I'm only one person. Well, there's a lot of people of interest, guys. That's the whole point. The whole point of investigating is having your list of everybody, right? Having the list of everybody that had a potential possibility of a connection to this crime. And you list all these names down. And then you start going through each one and deciphering each one. And if it fits, then it starts to make sense. And you kind of start separating those names. And some of them will wash out. Some of them will literally, they won't have anything to do with anything. But then there's going to be a lot of them that are going to have a lot to do with everything. And those you keep narrowing it down to so you don't have so many. Because eventually they will all weed themselves out. Whether it's R, whether it's whoever, they'll weed themselves out of the equation. Hey, come up here. Be quiet. Get up here. Get up here. Come on. Lay down. Lay down. So that's the whole point. A lot of times, come on. Lay down. You're good. This is Bandit. Lay down. All right. Good. Good. So a lot of times you're going to see a lot you have a lot of people. So, and you just have to keep narrowing it down to the point where you don't have that many people. Robert says that the cat's telling you, hey, finally calm down. Yes, cat lady, that is the male cat. Yes, it is. That's Bandit. Kitty wants his opinion heard too, Dee Dee. Well, he got it because he's quiet. Thank God. But yeah, so that's all we're trying to do, guys. Is trying to fit everybody as much as possible. Because when you cover so many different people, you have to also eliminate people. Okay? But the only way to eliminate it is to eliminate it with, you know, factual information that you can eliminate. It's not so much factual to get the person of interest, because sometimes you won't have any facts to get the person of interest. You'll have a lot of details. You'll have a lot of what they call circumstantial evidence, right? It won't be facts. But the way you go ahead and you get rid of some of these suspects or people of interest is by showing the facts why they're not in the equation. And those facts you get by turning those important little information or turning that little bit of uh, of uh, of details, you're able to confirm whether those details are true or not. That's how you create a fact and then eliminate that person from the equation, if that makes any sense. So there's a lot of ways to do it, you know. Kitty wants his opinion. Kitty got his opinion. Diddy, do you think they'll share the Uber driver's recording of Nancy's ride with the public? Honestly, honestly, Bridget, I don't think they will, especially if there's something like they can tell this nefarious going on, or maybe they hear something in that video that seems very suspicious. I don't think they would let anybody know until they're able to prove or disprove that he had anything to do with it. And the reason I say that is because if this Uber driver knows that they are literally looking at him, he's going to be on his P's and Q's, right? So I don't think they're going to just throw it out there and say, this is what happened, this is what took place, and this is the video. I don't think they're going to do that for that reason. It's only a matter of time before we will know the truth, says Julie. That is a fact, Julie. No doubt. Cat Lady, I don't think anything happened with Nancy until she went over to her daughters and Tommaso's. That's very possible, Cat Lady. I mean, some say that, some believe that she never made it home. And I could see that. I'm one of those that are saying, you can't show me evidence that she arrived at her house. How am I supposed to believe, literally, that if you can't show me evidence that she arrived, how am I supposed to believe, that that person didn't have anything to do with her? Makes no sense, right? No sense whatsoever. And that's the whole point. That's why, like I said, you can never have too much information because you can always weed out all that information, right? You can always weed it out. It will eventually clear itself. Bridget says, I would just like to see how she looked and was acting on the way to Annie's. Yeah, no doubt. That would be very interesting. Did she have a mean mug, as some would say? Did she have a very curious or a very down look, or did she have a? Yeah, you can tell by a person too. Sometimes you can tell by a person in how their facial expressions are. You know, even maybe they're fidgeting if you can see that, but you can tell what a person is going through or what a person is thinking if in fact that is exactly what it is. You know what I mean? That's very true. Are you aware that Annie and Tommaso have a security living with? You know, I watched it last night on Alex's channel. No, I had no clue, cat lady. I watched it on Alex's channel last night, and lo and behold, there was a lady that actually went up. She was some type of salesperson or something, and she just walked up through the door, not the door, but the side. I forgot what they call it, like whatever. But she walked up there and she knocked, and she said there was a lady there, and she was private security. So, and then it was mentioned that yeah, the family had gotten private security for all of them, you know, because of what has happened. So yeah, I did see that. It was very interesting. Yeah. So Alex was out there and he was kind of like, wow, like, man, you know, he also had a guy that came by him. Courtyard. Thank you so much, Carolina girl. It was a courtyard. She just walked up to the courtyard, went up there, knocked on the window. She asked the lady about whatever she was selling or taking names for something like trying to, I don't know if they were trying to get something passed or something. And supposedly the person who is a private or not a private investigator, a security, private security, said to her, "Keep knocking, keep knocking." In other words, like, I'm not gonna say nothing, just go ahead and keep knocking. And then she turned around. And then Alex asked her what had happened or what she said, and if it was a live person. And she said, "Oh yeah, I saw the person. It was a live person, but it wasn't Annie or Tommaso." Melissa, wait, Alex went live last night? Yes. Missed it. I was tired. Get home from work last night. Yeah, he went live. He went out in front of Annie and Tommaso's home and just stayed there and covered that for a while until Juanita came over and picked him up, and then they went over there where I think the juice was at, which was at Nancy's. Kenny says, "Good morning, dog. Good morning, Kenny. Good to have you, my friend." Click that like, everybody. Click that like. Hit those little like buttons. Don't forget to hit those like buttons. It just sends the algorithms. It gets everything going. Send those little emojis. It all helps out. I know the juice was live. Yeah, so was Alex. So was Alex. The juice was there longer than the juice was there before Alex got there. But then when Alex arrived, he was there filming, and you know he was hoping that Tommaso would would come out or would say something so that he could say, "Good morning, Devil Dog. Thank you, fan. Good morning, Jody. Good morning. Good morning, Jody. Good to have you." Yeah, he was saying that uh, he was there. He came there a little bit after, and then he stayed there for a while. And yeah, sure it was. And even the Juice called Alex, and they talked for a little bit on the phone, and then yeah, so that's why he went back to Nancy's because the juice was still there. I didn't get that. Could you try again? Jody, good morning. Fan, good morning. Hello to all coming in. Thanks for joining us. Click that like and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. If you're just watching, be a part of the Devil Pups investigation. Let us all try to be smarter and help each other get smarter. When Juice ended his live, I went to bed, so I just missed Alex live. I'll have to watch a replay. Yeah, he was on there. I watched it for a while. Then I guess there was a guy that came by and he stopped and he asked Alex, "Don't you have anything better else to do?" And Alex said, "No, not really." And then the guy said, "Nothing better to do?" And Alex says, "No, there's a lady gone missing. An 84-year-old lady is missing. So, no, I don't have anything else better to do." And then the guy just left. So, yeah, that was the only one I saw that he had any buddies say anything like that. Jody says, "Yeah, that was interesting to have an in-home security when apparently they have delinquent property tax." Yeah, no doubt. Lisa, it was a good day. Yes, it was. Bridget, yes, I watched them both going back and forth from Juice to Alex. No doubt. So did I, Bridget, because I actually watched a little bit of Juice too. Bridget, yes, I remember that guy pulling up to Alex asking that. I mean, you would think these people would just want to leave the streamers alone. If they don't like anything with them, just leave them alone. Let them do their thing. If they're not bothering you, then if they're bothering you, then okay, I get it. If they're bothering you, if they're crossing your space, hey, I get it. Enough's enough. But if they're not bothering you and they're there, they're telling you they're there because of Nancy keeping that story alive. I don't understand. I mean, other than I get it. I guess to say I understand all of it. I get it. People want their quiet peace, no one there. Some of them, and some of them don't really care. In all honesty. Lisa says Sleuth's chat was constantly complaining about him and everything. Sleuth's chat was constantly complaining about him and everything. Who page about Alex? Sleuth's chat was complaining about Alex. Fill me in for that if you could. If they're just sitting there on the side of the road, not bothering you, yes, I agree. Marianne, good morning, Marianne. Good to have you. Lisa, I had to exit. Were they complaining, Lisa, about Alex on Sleuth's Live? Good morning. Because they know, DD, fan. Because they know, DD. That's very possible, fan. No doubt about it. It's very possible. You can't put nothing behind this type of situation, to be honest. Bridget, just ignore them if they're not bothering you personally. Totally agree, Bridget. 110%. About Sleuth's phone calls, cutting out, blah, 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 and on. I got you, Lisa. Yeah. Yeah, I did hear a lot of that as well. I did hear a lot of that as well. You know, I don't get it other than what's that old saying? It is what it is. But I don't think a lot of people really like some of the things that other streamers may believe is really like what we do. People of interest, people that may have something to do with the connection. I think it bothers a lot of people that if they don't like a certain person, that they feel like, oh well, they're just wasting their time. Of course, the person who's complaining that they're just wasting their time is not saying, hey, I might be wasting my time. You know what I mean? It's just very a one-sided thing. It seems like that's what I've noticed, that a lot of people will complain about, not complain about Sleuth, but will say, I can't believe he thinks that it could be this person or that person. Like mocking other streamers. And in my opinion, here's the thing: At this point, no one has the answer because no one knows where Nancy's at. No one knows what happened. So at this point, everybody's opinion is valid because until you find Nancy or till they get her body remains back, you know, no one knows anything. You know what I mean? It's just having an open mind to see what's out there. Wonder why Annie and Lauren aren't speaking anymore. I don't know who Lauren is. I do not know, Carolina girl, who Lauren is. Fill me in. Speaking anymore sounded like Lauren might move Memorial to the TV station that Savannah worked at. Interesting. I did not know who this Lauren was. The chats get going sometimes. Yes, they do, Gronsky. I would never I would never give my opinion on SI's chat. No way. Yeah, I don't have problem, explaining myself with anybody's chat if I felt that they were listening. if I It's like even when I make a comment, I never get a response on anybody's chat. So for me, it kind of falls on deaf ears, but it's only because, maybe their chats are big and they're going fast, but still, I never get any responses. So I really, the only people that I really enjoy listening to, and this is why, because I never get any responses, is I listen to Doug. I listen Doug on Live Northport. I listen to Monk, and I do listen to the other ones, but it's not like a daily basis. Now Sleuth I listen to because I think he does a really good job, but I just don't think everybody likes agree. If someone agrees with somebody else's opinion, it seems like they take it personal, and it's not about that. But yeah, I don't. You know, I always tell you guys, I'm going to tell you how I see it from a law enforcement perspective, and if it helps you, great. And you know what? And if it doesn't help you, hey, that's fine. But I'm going from a law enforcement perspective. I'm not going from just somebody who, is an investigator, wants to play an investigator or whatnot. I'm going by literally my experiences. So that's got to count for something as far as I'm concerned. That's why others don't bother me, but I do like some because they're so professional. I like some of these streamers; they're so professional, and it's awesome to see. Melissa, I love Sleuth too. Yes, I have no problem with Sleuth. Marianne, oops, Lauren was close to Nancy, not Annie. I got you. Okay. I was just kind of yeah, you had me there. You had me there because I couldn't remember who in the heck that was. Thank you for clearing that. Appreciate you, Marianne. Gronsky, looks like the flowers are going for a ride to KVOA, where Savannah used to work. Yeah, pretty much. At least Sleuth was talking. Oh, Sleuth was taking callings, and it was so sweet. Interesting. That's awesome. Mrs. Y, Lauren is Nancy's friend. Thank you, Mrs. Y. Appreciate you. Thank you for that. Thank you for being here. Carolina girl, Lauren is one of Nancy's friends. She takes care of the memorial key. Okay, I think I did see her. She was out there a while back. She was out there a lot, but she was out there a while back. She was the one that was cleaning up everything, making it look really nice. I think Alex and Juanita and a bunch of other people were there, and she was the one cleaning up, if I'm not mistaken, making it look really super nice. I do remember her. I didn't know that was her name, but I do remember her. Kronsky says, I don't either. Marianne says, I listen to too many. Melissa says, I also like Mar. I like Mark the Shark. I really do. Gronsky says, the big chats are not for me. I can understand that, my friend. I was impressed, says Paige. Wish DGL and JLR would go back to Arizona. Yeah, that was a nice gesture from Sleuth, no doubt about it. Lauren takes care of the flowers. Yeah, that's who I thought it was. Okay. Yeah, I have seen her, but I just don't remember. I didn't remember her name. Lisa says, riding the e-bike. Yes, Luke was riding the e-bike. Dee interacts with his chatters and answers questions and allows opinions. That is what's difference with him from other streamers. Thank you, April. Appreciate that. And I do. You guys know everybody's allowed to have their own opinion. No doubt about it. Amen. Soaring energy. Morning, Dee and Chad. Imagine Annie and Tommaso have private security and Nancy didn't even have subscriptions. Man, when you put it like that, Soaring Energy, you're not only kidding. That's like, hey, that's a mic drop. Good, good. That's awesome how you pointed that out. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. When you think about it, Nancy didn't have any subscription, but the family's going to have private security. Well said, Soaring Energy. Semper Fi, my friend. Awesome. Bridget, yes, that's Lauren. Got you. Okay, that makes sense now. Man, still, that was really good there, Soaring Energy. I really like that. Amen. AJ, cool too, and Monkey too. Only ones don't watch much anymore is Exploring with Jim and 857 Tucson, says Melissa. Marianne, maybe A and T higher security after Nancy went missing. Oh, I'm sure that's what they did. They hired security after Nancy went missing. No doubt. I'm sure that's exactly what they did. No doubt about it. It's just the irony in it that they would get security after what happened to their mom and her mother-in-law, and yet how could no one think about what she needed was maybe a subscription to get more information. You know what I mean? I see where Soaring Energy is going, no doubt about it. But you're right. You're definitely right. Bridget, Lauren and the Jews yesterday that she thinks Annie is mad at her. Lauren told the Jews yesterday that she thinks Annie's mad at her. Interesting. Cat lady, private security, in my opinion, equals guilty. Yeah, it definitely equals paying somebody some really good money to be a private security, no doubt about it. But then again, we don't even know what kind of private security, you know? Is it like the guy from Mall Cop? You know, you remember Mall Cop, everybody? Is it like the guy from Mall Cop, or like is it somebody like, you know, one of these, Denzel Washington security specialists? Just throwing that little giggle out. Melissa, Bridget, Lauren was there last night. I said. Interesting. So that's the whole thing. That's why we look at everybody, because everybody has a potentiality of going ahead and being that person of interest if they fit that narrative. And we've covered a lot of them already. And we covered everybody. We're just going back seeing what we missed, what we didn't see. And here you go. There was a couple that didn't really know who Doug Gone Live Northport was, or where some of this information came out, and now they know. So yeah, I think that really realistically, when you able to have these streams and talk to people, people do learn a lot. Yeah, she drove by the house and talked to Jews for about 30 minutes and left. That was interesting. That was nice. Good deal. Good deal. You know what? I forgot to tell you. So on you guys, I don't know if you guys know or remember, but here last night on On Alex's live, he called Sue Ellen. I almost yeah, it was Sue Ellen. He called Sue Ellen, and he kind of like disguised his voice a little bit, and he said, "I would like to talk to you," and but he disguised his voice, and she was like, "Who is this?" And he said, "This is something." He said something, and she goes, "About what?" And he said, "I would like to talk to you about Nancy Guthrie." And she goes, "No, goodbye," and she hung up. That did happen. I heard that. It was funny as heck, but I don't know how he got her number, but he called her. I almost 100% sure it was Sue Ellen because she was not happy. How do we know if P.S. it could have been a friend? They could tell that little lady everything. It would have been different if she knew about Nancy or what's going on. Just a thought. That's a good thought, fan. That's a very good thought. It's a big puzzle, and we have a piece to add to each day, says April. Just wish we could complete it. It'll come in due time. Soaring Energy says, Dee Dee, so at this point, Richard Nolette, do you think Ellie have ruled him out? Honestly, Soaring Energy, I really don't know. I just don't know. I don't think I would rule him out until I rate that lake and seen if there was anything in there or not. That simple. If I rate the lake and I see there's nothing there, then yes, he's out of the equation, in my opinion. But, you know, I don't think they're going to rate the lake, so therefore, maybe, yeah, I would say probably he's out of their mind because of his so-called lunacy, the looniness, the way he went about it. Uh, but yeah, I would say yeah, they probably ruled him out. In my opinion, I do. Says Marianne. I personally couldn't, but I can understand. Soaring Energy. Oh, speaking of lake, do you know cadaver dogs can work on top of the water going 30 feet down? I did not know that, Soaring Energy. That is interesting. Dogs can actually sniff through the water 30 feet down. Wow. That is very interesting. Ugh, that is interesting. I did not know that. Thank you for that information, my friend. Like I said, I think that if you want to be able to go ahead and rule somebody out, you have to have a fact, right? Especially when you got details, you have to have a fact. If you get no details, it's kind of hard to rule people out because you have nothing. But if you got details, they give you details, you can rule that person out. You just have to go ahead and check what their details they're giving you. And in this case, that could be done so easily. And yet, for some reason, these people make it seem so damn hard. These police and investigators, it makes no sense to me. It was so sweet. The Jews on elderly 94-year-old lady daughter brought her to visit Nancy, and she got around very well and started walking up to the driveway, but they stopped her. The Jersey lady, yes, about the cadaver dogs that can smell through the water. That is true. Wow, that is incredible. Thank you for being here, the Jersey girl. Yeah, Jersey lady, I'm sorry. Yes, that is interesting. I never knew that. Now, we had a canine when I worked in law enforcement. We had gotten a canine for our department, and but it was a canine for drugs. But yeah, I can just imagine. That is interesting. SE, great info. That is no doubt. Yes, they're using them in the Bahamas on that lady, the Hooker case. Yeah, Lynette Hooker, and the dogs are from the United States. That is very interesting. I'll tell you, a lot of these canines are awesome. A lot of these dogs for different reasons. Canines, I mean in general. But whether they're for, missing people, looking for missing people, or like this, being able to sniff through water up to 30 feet. I mean, dogs are incredible. They are incredible species, and they are very handy to law enforcement. Thank you for all being here. Great conversation and info. Amen. Click that like, everybody. Do me that favor. Click that like. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. Help everybody become more smarter. Yeah, that was interesting. Very interesting. What did you all think about that when Alex? I didn't hear no comment, and I'm shocked. What did you all think about Alex calling Sue Ellen on the phone and asking her if she would talk about Nancy? He was there to talk about Nancy, but he disguised his voice. What do you all think about that? I can't believe I didn't hear anything about it from you guys. Alex calls Sue Ellen on the phone. I'm almost 99.9% it was Sue Ellen. And she was not a happy camper. I came in late. Who do I have to add to my list? Nobody right now, Marion. Nobody right. Well, maybe you do. Maybe uh, um, Ronald Lopez. Ronald Lopez. There you go. I just gave you a name. Cat Lady Alex needs to grow up, says Cat Lady Willis. Interesting. April, I expect anything from Alex, so wasn't shocked. Interesting. The Jersey lady. No, I don't think that he should have called her. Very interesting. Gronsky, they do it by smelling decomposition gases and particles that rise to the surface. That is very interesting, Gronsky. Thank you. Bridget, yes, Alex was pretending he was a reporter. She hung up on him. Robert, yeah, that is wrong on his part. Interesting. Appreciate all your comments, everybody. Carolina girl, I missed that. I kept going back and forth because Alex and Juice will have to check it out. Fan, private security sounds fishy. Would the private security not come out on the porch? No, they stayed. It was a she, and she stayed inside the house. Why do they all act so weird? April, there's the email for my channel. If you need to go ahead and leave me an email, by all means, please do. If you get any information that you think is important, by all means, bring it. Send it to me. We'll go over it. Soaring energy. That was hilarious. Is a Alex is a risk taker for sure, but on live, it is a new kind of risk. That is true. That's what I was worried about. Is I always worried about like the comments that people make on their lives, and then like I don't want to get into detail, but comments that people make on their lives, and if they show any type of agitation or aggression as they're talking to their streamers, or not their streamers, as their people who call in, their subscribers, their watchers, as they talk to them and they make certain comments, how that could bite them in the ass if the cops wanted to come and say, "Hey, you need to leave," and they say, "Well, this is public road, yeah, but you're creating a hostile environment because of what you're saying," and well, I didn't say nothing, and then they got it all on video. You know what I mean? That just I always worried about that. Sue Ellen would not even have known who she was talking to because Alex made up a different accent. Yeah, that's what I said, cat lady. I said that. I said that at the very beginning. Alex was talking in a different accent. So yeah, Sullivan had no idea it was him. Had no idea it was him. And he went and he asked her to talk if she would talk about Nancy, and she said no and hung up. Yeah, yeah, that was the whole point. That yeah, he went ahead and used a different accent. Smart on his part. But what I'm saying is that everybody, when you're streaming, everybody's hearing it, right? So if for some reason the cops listen to Alex and see, like they do with Jr. and everybody else, and they happen to catch that, then guess what? It's recorded, And if you're talking about, and I'm not talking about just this case, this just situation with Alex. I'm talking about in general. If any streamer goes out there and starts to call names and make accusations and innuendos at the people that they're sitting out in front of, then it shows that you're like exacerbating the friction, the confrontation. And sometimes that could be bad because then they could ask you to leave and you'd have to leave. And it's not no more about, well, this is freedom of speech and I can, well, no, it is until you say things that could be considered as an agitator, agitating. You follow what I'm saying, everybody? That's in law enforcement. Yeah, they could say, well, you're creating a hostile area, so you need to go. That's just how it works in law enforcement. But that's everybody. That's not any individual. I'm saying that about everybody. Sue Ellen is due for a change of number or block, Alex. Marianne, we are talking about criminal network. Yes. Alex feels he is being harassed by Sue Ellen, and Sue Ellen doesn't like him. So it's a back and forth with them all the time. No doubt, April. Jody, no, Kenny, not talking about him. What can he say? Kenny, are you talking about Gray Hughes? He's a dick. That's why his channel does not grow. He begs for money, constantly using the guide of donating to cases to justify his begging. He is pathetic. Yeah, Kenny, I don't know who Gray Hughes is, but sounds like by your take, I don't want to know who he is. No doubt about it. Oh well, Gray calls people on his channel names and he's mean to the people. Yeah, well, that type of person, yeah, they don't get anywhere, Kenny. No doubt about it. Cat lady, she's an old lady. She isn't. She's always old. She's older. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Well said. I did what I see as an officer of people that are out there. I have no problem with people out there. My whole thing is when you're on live, everything that you're saying is being recorded on your phone, right? Everything you say. So if let's just say if okay, let's just say that I'll use me as an example. I was literally in front of Tommaso's house, let's say. I'm using me as an example. And I am talking about, oh, come on out here, you jackass, and have a conversation. I'm not screaming it, I'm just saying it in my live. Hey, jackass, what are you hiding? What are you afraid of? Just come on out here, set the record straight, And I continue that type of verbiage, and I say, we know everybody knows you did it. You had something to do with it, right? Now, this is an example of me. I'm using me as the example. At the end of the day, if they call the cops on you and the cops actually go to your channel and listen, because they have listened to channels before, and they hear that type of verbiage, they could surmise by that you are being very hostile. And when they go to talk to you and you say, well, I didn't say nothing, I'm just standing right here. Well, no, you were talking in this manner. You're creating a hostile situation. You're creating a confrontation. You need to leave. And at that point, you have to leave. You have to leave. It's not a matter of, well, I have, this is a freedom of speech and I have a right to be on this public road. No, no, not anymore, because you crossed that threshold. That's what I'm saying. I would have to leave because I said some things that was initiating that confrontation. You follow me? That's all I'm saying. And that's what worries me about a lot of people. That's all I'll say. Not a bad thing, just saying that's how it works in law enforcement. And people need to understand that. The faithful servant. Good morning, faithful servant. April, I didn't help her. It didn't help her case stopping search and not turning over cameras, and then the parking crap. Just saying, no, true, true. I'm talking from a different perspective, so just know where I'm coming from. I'm using me as the example. I'm not using anybody else. I'm saying me. Kenny, Alex isn't gray. Alex channel is called Criminal Network. Venus, yeah, no, yeah, and I think Alex just rides the fence. Very possible. Arizona Desert says so true. Fan, right, April. Arizona, you said it correctly. It's just how it is, everybody. It's just how it is. That's how law enforcement looks at things. So, to keep the idea of keeping the peace and to keep the idea of making everything cohesive and being able to, God, I wish that someone would come out here and have that conversation with us instead of not saying anything, because he could really set the record straight. Talking in that fashion, oh yeah, no one can say anything to you, right? But when if you come across as saying things, uh, attacking, and I don't mean physically, I'm talking verbally, and making strong comments about just a person who is less than or you think is less than because they won't talk, then yes, that's what they're going to do. Law enforcement will do that, and they'll have every right to do that. I know because I've been there. I get it. Thank you, Arizona. Appreciate you, and thank you for being here, Arizona. Jody, opposite ends as you can get Alex and Gray. FR. One Alex has never asked for a penny. Ellie IDD88, what's going on, Ellie? Good to see you. It's been a while. Bridget Clark, I agree 100%, April. She calls people to dislike her. What are we talking about, friends? We're talking about just a lot of things here about about Ronald Lopez as a person of interest. We're talking about uh, the some comments and some talking about other streamers who were actually were live last night, had some really good lives going on, and just really just having the conversation, to be honest. Kathy's in the house. Good to have you, Kathy Willis. But prank calling on an old lady, come on. I understand. I understand. I totally get it. I totally get it. Here- I'm just telling you, as an officer, yeah, because everything's recorded. Everything is recorded. And if they hear that, they're saying there was no justification for that. That's what an officer would say. Time to move on. And then it doesn't become about, oh well, I have the right. No, no, no. Time to move on. And you better listen, otherwise they could take you to jail literally for that for the night. So it's what it's worth to you, I guess, is what I'm saying. But anyway, didn't want to get off on that tangent, but I had to express that, everybody. I can't stand people who harass people and hide behind freedom of speech. If I was harassing their spouse, they wouldn't tolerate. But most of these auditor types are too pathetic for a spouse. Well said, Katie. Well said. April, SE should have been reported the day she went after Juanita. In my opinion, very true, very true. I didn't see that, but hey, if she did that, absolutely. Marianne, how do we know that Sue Ellen didn't hand over her footage? Did we hear that from Ellie or a streamer? I thought that came from a streamer. I'm not sure. I know that the cops did say that they were trying to get videos from everybody, and there was a couple that refused to hand over their videos. They didn't specify who, so I'm not sure really to answer that question, Marianne. How does anybody really know it was Sue Ellen? But just saying, you're right. You're definitely right on that. I don't think anybody really knows because no name was ever mentioned on who was the person except by possibly streamers. Arizona, been a while, Alley Cat. Sue Ellen is on recording of the YouTubers recording her driving up to them, harassing them. That's why they dislike her, says Bridget. Arizona, you said Alley Cat, and your cat starts saying, "Hey, Alley Cat." The mess. I didn't care for Alex at first, but now he's grown on me and he's so outrageous sometimes. I laugh out loud. That's funny. No doubt, Venus. Kathy Willis. Thank you. Appreciate you. Alley Cat. Yeah, I didn't like that either, says Alley Cat. The faithful servant. Thanks, Bridge. I almost forgot in adding that to my stream. Tegan, I haven't seen you here in a while, Tegan. I like Alex. He's gentle, giant, and very good at putting people at ease. I do have some sympathy with neighbors, as I don't think I would be a constant flow of people camping outside my house. So true. Well said, Tegan. Well said. Kathy Willis. I'm a Aussie. I'm going to subscribe. You seem very genuine. Thank you so much, Kathy Willis. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yeah, you know, thank you so much. You are a blessing, no doubt. This channel is a good channel because everybody gets to kind of voice their opinion. We really tried. I try to focus on literally persons of interest because that's what it's all about right now. Trying to find somebody who can fit that bill of being a person who literally is involved in Nancy's gone missing, right? And sometimes the nice thing and the beauty of it here is that we can all have a conversation and talk about different things and how we see things. And for the most part, everything stays pretty chill. So, yeah, I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Kathy. The Faithful Servant, Bridge, Alex called Sue Ellen last night on his live stream. Yes, definitely heard that one. I watched it. I heard it. I'm not certain that was actually Sue Ellen. I think he called someone he knew. All stage for an entertainment. You think so, Jody? I don't. I think that was Sue Ellen big time. No doubt. I mean, could it be? Yes, it could have been staged, but I don't think so. I mean, what would be the point of staging something like that if you're a streamer? You know? Yeah. Bridget, April, yeah, Sue Ellen attacked Juanita right there in front of people. Was it like a very harsh verbal attack? Was it a physical attack? I don't ever remember that. I might have to go back and look at that. Tegan, can we interview the cat? Come here, Bandit. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. He's just looking at me like, what the hell do you want from me? I tried. Sorry, Tegan, I tried. I don't want to mess everything up. Yeah, she's laying down now. She's quiet, so let's keep her quiet. Kathy Williams laughing out loud. SD is all over the sweet folks that just want to drop flowers off or just to chat. Crazy, crazy hills. And I agree with that, Fred. That I do agree with. I mean, the idea that, people come by from different places just to, you know, lay flowers down or see the house and, kind of probably think, man, that could have been my mom or my loved one or my, somebody that means something to me. That's what I don't like is that people will attack, and let me rephrase that, will, make other people who are coming there just to say their piece, maybe a prayer, just to say something on behalf of Nancy. I don't like the fact that those people can are being harassed just because they're wanting to pay their respects. I don't think that that's right. I think it's wrong. And if anybody is doing that, to include Sue Ellen, that is wrong. You know, people can relate to being that mother, that grandmother, or people can relate to people that, hey, what if that was mine. So people showing up and dropping off flowers, my God, that should be a sign of respect, a sign of what we want in our country, for people to come together and really, see how much other people mean to them, instead of trying to shut everything down because you don't like people in your area. Well, you know what I mean? I'll compare the voices. Sure, go ahead. Kenny, I've been following true crime channels since 2004. Devil Dog is one of the most personable hosts I have ever come across. Much love and peace to you, Kenny. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate that. Look, man, I love people. I love talking to people. I love interacting with people. I love trying to help people understand things that I may know just a tad bit, little bit more than they, and I learn a lot from other people that know other things more than I do. So, thank you for those kind words, Kenny. I appreciate that. I've never had a problem communicating with people. That's something the Lord had blessed me with. So I thank God for being able to do these things and come across that way, because that's really who I am. Hubie. Oh, here we go. Got a Hubie sighting. To each other. To Luke. Alley Cat said Hubie. To each other. I was waiting when Hubie come out. Yeah, no doubt. Hubie's in the house, says Alley Cat. Hubie to each other. To Luke. I wonder how that conversation goes with Hubie and Luke, right? Being Kayla Day in the middle. Chica. Chica's in the house. What's going on, Chica? Chica's getting my kitty. Ooh, awesome. Great. Kathy, midnight here in Australia, out and down under. I can't really say it like that because that's just not my accent, but I feel you. Thank you for having me. Take care, Kathy. Thank you for joining and becoming a double pup. Appreciate you. And we're always on here 9 a.m., 5 p.m. Try to do it as much as I can. God bless you and thank you. Thank you for all your kind words, too, by the way. Appreciate that. And all your insight. Have a good night. April says SE was in Juanita's face for parking and she had permission and a handicap parking pass. Didi. Wow. Yeah, there's no reason for that. No doubt about it, April. No doubt it. There's no reason for so Ellen to come across like that, especially when someone has a parking pass, a handicap parking pass, and had permission to park there. There's no reason for that. Yeah, that wouldn't have set well with me, no doubt about it. Thank you for letting me know that, April. Appreciate that. Bridget, it was a big argument. They recorded it on video, DD, the altercation between Sue Ellen and Juanita. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Bridget. Thank you. Thank you. That changes a lot too, in my opinion. But I get what you're saying and I totally understand. Yeah, there's no room for that. That's ridiculous. I respect Devil Dog because he's not too palsy to let people speak their minds. Some of these content creators put trying to being accepted in the community and making money above moral fiber. Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from, Kenny. No doubt. No doubt. I understand where you're coming from. Like I say, guys, lived a life well lived. Proud. If I die tomorrow, lived a good life. Right now, my whole thing is just trying to go ahead and get people to understand the nuances of law enforcement and why certain things can happen and can't happen, why they can give you some things and can't give you other things. I learned from a lot of you guys just as well by your conversations and your comments and whatnot. But that's what I bring to the table. But honestly, this is who I've always been. I know it sounds crazy. You're thinking, oh, a Marine, law enforcement, at the highest level. I'll just leave it at that. And yet, this guy listens. Well, of course, that's 90% of the problems in our world today is no one listens, right? No one listens. Everybody wants to do the chattering, and no one wants to listen. And that's the problem we have in the whole world. In the whole world, there's no listening. Well, when you have no one listening, then all it is noise, you know. But appreciate that, Kenny. Thank you. Bridge, whose streams was that on, Alex? Let me see here. Hang on a second. I'll go back. There you go. But thank you, Kenny. It means a lot, buddy. Bridget, remember she was also recording people at Memorial and taking pictures of them and their license plate on Alex. Oh, yeah, I do remember seeing that too. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I do remember seeing that. Fanflower, yeah, Devil Dog, justice for Nancy. Amen. Amen. No doubt about it. Bring her home or just bring her remains home so her family can have a life well lived. That's my interest. Let them move on. I believe it was on Alex's stream and the other streamers there also got you. Alicat, how are they connected to Hubie though? Hubie, you mean Hubie and or Webby, the Webby and Luke Daly? Is that what you're asking, Alicat? How are they connected? Okay, so how are they connected? Well, Webby is married to Kayla Day. We know that. Kayla Day and LD hanged around together and both were arrested while in the parking lot of Walmart dealing. Now, Webby was in prison for 11 years, I believe. 11 years because he was transporting people, illegals, or I can't say illegal. He was transporting people across the border, undocumented people. And while the Border Patrol was chasing him, he hit another vehicle, and literally unalived another 80 plus year old lady. And at that point, that's what he got sent to prison for. So, he's gone. Luke and her start to go ahead, Kayla Day start to go ahead, and obviously they know each other. Obviously they got along with each other. Obviously they hung out together because they both got arrested together dealing drugs in the parking lot of Walmart. So that's the connection between Hubie and Luke. That they both had Kayla in the middle, right? Kayla was, in some way, you could say, was attached over here and was attached over here. How do we know that Kayla and Hubie are were married? Because it was already come out that they were married. It's already. I mean, it's been all over. Hubie, Hubie, and Kayla as husband and wife. I mean, you can probably Google it. All right. Stand by, everybody. Let me. I don't want to say something out of line, so give me a second. Let me just see. Hang on a second. Let me see, because I do not want to get out of line and say something that's incorrect. Hang on. Okay. Well, hang on a second. I seen it on someone's stream, so give me a second. And let's see. Give me 1 second. Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves for a minute. But I want to verify this because I don't want to say something that's not right. Okay, let me correct this here. Okay, so this is what I'm going to correct it now, okay? Because I know I heard it somewhere on someone's live, but here we go. William Ken Hubie. Some speculate on platform like X, formerly Twitter, links her to a man named William Ken Hubie, allegedly also known as Mick Knox, claiming he is her unconfirmed husband. They okay. So there you go. Hang on a second. I'm sorry. I'm skipping. I was trying to go ahead and getting information here. Let me see here. Hang on. Okay. Okay. Hang on a second. Okay. What's going on here? Connected to go. Oh, stop with the names. Connected with the thoughts. Oh no, stop with the names. Thanks. Yes, I remember that April. Says Bridget, did you see the night a guy stopped talking to Sue? Okay. Okay, Hubie would know Luke if Hubie was married to Kayla. Melissa, I saw it. I saw it, and she's just the meanest. Melissa, she's out of control. April, trying to get back down to you, Alex, and when he start close. Two-fold communications is that hugest issue that takes place came, says Arizona. Melissa, yes, April, he hates Sue Ellen. Fanflower, SE needs to find her place, stay at her place and chill. Yes, we don't know that. Melissa, what they need to the people, how do we know that Kayla and Luke were married? Oh, hang on a second, I'm getting there, Ellie Cat. Kenny, oh wow, this is a big information. Not so. Arsenal, Melissa, so glad to have you here. Alleyway, look up Kayla, uh, Kent Quinton, DD8 is king. Marianne Alleycat, Melissa Luke, not married to Kayla. Oh, thank you, DD. Luke and Kayla got arrested at the same time, says Venus. We know that. He didn't know her. He don't even know her, he said. Well, of course he's gonna say that. Of course, that's why you're saying Luke doesn't know her, but that's why they got arrested together selling drugs. But Luke's gonna say he doesn't know her. Of course not. You all are great. Thank you so much for being here and supporting DD. Alley Cat, I have found a lot out about Kayla, but I can't find that bit. But I think the connection, then I will need a new whiteboard. No, hang on. Sorry, Nana, do you keep skipping my comments? The last three, to be exact. No, I haven't skipped your comments. Soaring Energy. I looked up and found out she is married to William Hubie. I looked her up and found, okay, Marianne says, I looked her up and found that she is married to William Hubie. Soren, this is the only comment I see from you. Me too. That's the only thing I see. Crazy, says Soren Energy. Thank you for that. So I'm reading everybody's thing just to get to see what I missed from Soren Energy, but yeah, I didn't see it. I think Luke's car or phone in Nancy's area because he lived close by. That is very true. The perp had some way of avoiding the camera on theory. Well said, Quentin. Well said, no doubt. So, as for you, Soaring Energy, I didn't see anything that I missed. Song, thank you for uh, confirming that for me. Marianne, thank you for confirming that. I looked her up and found out married to William Hubie. Quentin, he's behind. So did you get that, Alley Cat? I need if you got that. Marianne and Marianne is the one that said I looked her up and found out she is married to William Hubie. I thought I had seen it as well. Did you get that, Alley Cat? If you could confirm that you got that information, I'd appreciate it. I scrolled. You're talking about the dogs. Soaring Energy, thanks, Arizona. I just posted. Do you see it? Soaring Energy did have comments, but lost in the weeds. Yes, in my opinion, Luke and Kayla were on a 2-day drug spree, got busted. She's been in jail the whole time. She refused to go to her court date. They rescheduled her court date. Okay. So did you hear what Marion said? That she had looked it up as well and said that she had found Marianne that they were married. Now, what I'm reading here, okay, current relationship information, and I'm just going to read it. Luke Anthony Daly, most media reports identify Kayla Day as the girlfriend of Luke Anthony Daly. Some social media posts have incorrectly claimed that they are married, talking about Luke Daly and Kayla Day. Okay. incorrectly claim that they are married, but it has been debunked by researchers. Unverified marital claims, various social media theories, and unconfirmed reports have suggested she might be married to other individuals, including Mick Knox. Several online posts and rumors claim the Facebook profile listed her as married to a man named Mick Knox. William Ken Cuby, some speculation and platform like X, formerly Twitter, links her to a man named William Ken Cuby, allegedly also known as Mick Knox, claiming he is her unconfirmed husband. So with that, you're right. According to this, maybe they're not married. Maybe they were just an item. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just maybe that's what it was. So there, I wanted to clear the air because I one thing I don't like to do is put something that's not out there. So they knew each other. Obviously, that's pretty evident. You're very welcome, Ellie, and thank you for going ahead and calling me out on that. I appreciate that. I always want to get things straight, no doubt about it. Quinton, perps could have ridden the desert to avoid detection, according to an investigator of the case. Interesting, Quinton. Bridget, maybe just living together. It's very possible. I mean, yeah, it's very possible, no doubt about it. I just don't. I heard it somewhere. I saw it somewhere. I read it somewhere, and obviously I wasn't the only one because Marianne also has read it somewhere. She looked it up and saw that they were married. Now, hey, if I am wrong, hey, my apologies. But I just read you what they said. So maybe they were living together. Maybe they were just acquaintances. Even though now Luke Daly, I remember him saying that he didn't know her. Well, that's kind of hard to say you don't know somebody. Okay, it's kind of hard to say you didn't know her when in fact you were arrested with her dealing drugs at the Walmart parking lot. Okay, and then got another issue that happened between him and her like 8 months prior to Nancy being taken. So the idea that he, said he did not know her, that's not true. Now that's a fact, I can tell you. Welcome to the blue line, Allie, says April. But probably just living together. Yeah, it's possible. Soaring or the LE and Richard. Soaring Energy. Arizona says Soaring Energy or the LE and Richard. Arizona, no, it's about 5 posts up from this. I posted about NBC and property taxes of Tommaso and Annie. All right, let me go up real quick. Hang on, everybody. I thought I read something about that. Okay, so Alice is a risk taker. Yeah, just post it again, will you? Sorry, I just I don't want to get caught up in all the weeds, but yeah, I've been answering all yours because yeah. Quentin, they are delinquent and paying 16% extra, but they doesn't mean eviction, etc. No, I don't think they're going to get evicted. I think at some point you're probably going to see Savannah come to the saving grace, if you will. Soren Energy says, "No worries, thank you, Soren Energy." I try to call everybody's name out. I try to read everybody's stuff, so I do apologize if I missed yours. But I do remember you saying something about taxes. I do remember you saying something about taxes of Annie and Tommaso. I do remember that. So yeah, that's just odd. Just wanted to bring to your attention, perhaps YouTube has word filters. Who knows? No doubt worries, no worries. Soaring energy. I appreciate all you what you bring to the table, my friend. Thank you for your understanding. And right above the no worries comment, I had said, What if this was a psyop? What if this is a psyop? It's very possible. I mean, you can. I don't see that psyop, but I just read it just now, and I don't see it. But hey, I read it now. What if this is a psyop? Because the powers that be have done more or less in the past. That's true. That's very possible. No doubt about it, Soren. No doubt about it. I open up my comments blocks as long as they are respectful. YouTube is sensitive. Wow. Don't forget, click like. Everybody, hit that like button. Subscribe. If you are not a subscriber, become a subscriber and let's all get together and help each other become more smarter. Do me that favor, hit the little emojis and whatever. It just sends the algorithm. We'll start building the algorithm so that we can go ahead, literally, so we can go ahead and get more people in. April. Kenny says, sorry, had to run an errand. So Kayla Day's husband apparently has ties to criminals in Mexico. That's key information, Luke. What say you? So Kenny is saying sorry, had to run an errand. So Kayla Day's husband apparently had ties to criminals in Mexico. That's why that's key information. Luke, what say you? April, DD mods have an option to open up the YouTube blocks. Got you. Yeah, I don't block anybody unless it's somebody that and you all know because I'll tell you or I'll just block it. But I don't really block anybody unless they're bots or I don't care about opinions. Don't bother me. It's the bots. It's the same old saying the same thing 100 times. I don't have time for that. But hey, you all are doing a great job. All the mods are doing great. No doubt about it. You mean help each other to get more confused? That's funny. That's funny, Marianne. Oh lordy. No, that's funny. No, stop it. We're not trying to confuse anybody. Ugh. But that's where we're at. So here's the thing. I guess the bottom line is we don't know. We don't know literally. I appreciate all in the chat. Likewise, well said, Soren Energy, and I appreciate all of you. Make no mistake, you all bring something great to the table. No doubt about it. In my opinion, hey, I love this chat room because you guys make it very enjoyable. And you guys listen and you do your homework. So hey, kudos to all of you. Chica says, in the camera that caught cars passing by the yellow house down the street, would like to know who lives or owns it. Who lives or owns it? Has anyone confirmed that Kayla's address can be linked to a family excavating company? I've heard something about that somebody in her family owned an excavating. I did hear that. I haven't Googled it, but I did hear it in a chat by several different streamers on different on different streamers' chats. So I have heard that, but I've never confirmed that. I have never confirmed that. Just saying, Alley Cat. I'm not sure, Chica. I'm not sure. In the camera that caught cars passing by the yellow house down the street, like to know who lives or owns it. I'm not sure. If somebody has that answer for Chica, please let her know. Wasn't it LD's mother that owns the excavating company? No, I don't think it was his mother, Soren Energy. I think that was Kayla, somebody related to Kayla Day, to my understanding. Okay, so you got it then. You got it then. Ellie Cat just said, I confirmed it. I have her DOB, social, and date of birth. Sounds good. Thank you. Chicago, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Chicago. My bad. My bad. Chicago, if anybody has any information on that house, that yellow house that Chicago had asked, that camera that caught the cars passing by the yellow house down the street, Chicago wants to know who lives or owns it. If anybody has that info, I don't have it, Chicago, but I'll look it up to see. No doubt about it. You got it, Chicago. Appreciate you. And my bad earlier calling you Chica. My bad. Thank you. Miss Mandy said it's universal when Ellie hold up green tarp. Who was in Luke's Range Rover that night at SWAT's? Questionable. Interesting. Woo. That's interesting. It's universal when Ellie hold up green tarp. Who was in Luke's Range Rover that night of SWATs? I had heard. Now, I have just heard. I'm not going to say this is factual. I'm just saying I had heard in other streamers that the reason they put that tarp up was because they weren't sure what they were going to find in the back of that Range Rover. That's what I had heard. Is it true? I have no idea. But I heard something to the effect of that the reason they did that is they didn't want to get caught off guard and find something. They didn't know what they were going to find, but they didn't want it basically to be an unalive person. That's what I heard. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. You'll have to fact check it. Soren Energy. Also, who was living in the casita? Didn't the neighbors say there was a car parked in the casita for a year or so? I know that in the past there was somebody living there. I don't know who's living there now or who was living there recently. I didn't think anybody was living there recently, to be honest. At that casita in the back by the pool house, I don't think I don't think anybody was living there. I know some people have speculated that Cameron was staying there, but I don't know if there was ever a confirmation that he was staying there. I think he was staying at his condos in Tucson. He has a bunch of condos and rental properties. So I assume it was just that, but I don't know. D Dog, may I ask you your favorite true crime streamer? It's a really like Bullhorn Betty. Is I really like Bullhorn Betty. I don't have a problem with any honestly streamers. I think I like a lot of Monk Intrigue because he's so detailed. He's so I don't know. He does his homework big time. And I like uh, Sleuth Intuition because he also does very great research. I mean, he brings that to the table, no doubt. So Sleuth and Monk are probably at my top. I like not Dog, Doug, because he also really gets into the nitty gritty. So, I mean, would I not watch any of them? Eh. Have I watched Bullhorn Betty? Yes, I have watched Bullhorn Betty, and she has some good information as well. So yes, um, but yeah, I don't have anything really like against anybody. I like Martha Short. I think at first I was, didn't know what to think, and now the more I got to watch him, the more I realized he really does a good job. He really does pound the pavement. Uh, I like Jim because when it came to the searching, he would take his motorcycle and go out and search. So I mean, they all bring something to the table. But my favorite, honestly, I would have to say, literally, my favorite, in my opinion, would probably be, oh God, I hate to say these things, but Monk and Sleuth. And like I say, I like them all, really. Mark and Sleuth, Monk, Mark, and um, I like the interview room because they have their other. I like a lot of law enforcement ones because I can relate more with them as far as the nuances. Um, but honestly, I like them all. I don't have any ones that I don't like. I'll watch some more than others. Let's just say that I will watch some more than others. But my favorite, in all honesty, and I'll just say it, I can say who my favorite is. You know who my favorite is? It's the dog. That's who my favorite is. And you know why it's me? Because I know I bring a lot of different things to the table. That's me. It's not a conceited thing, it's just me. That's my favorite. I love what I bring to the table. I love what I bring to the table. And I try to bring everything with respect and courtesy to others, and I try to give you guys what you guys may miss or may not see, and I let you guys speak freely. I do not. It doesn't bother me having different opinions. You guys, I would say I love I love what I bring to the table, and I love what I do. So I guess that's the best, fairest way I can say it. But do I mind watching others? No, I don't mind watching others. Uh, I just watch others a lot more than others, if that makes any sense. Tough question, man. Talk about being in the hot seat. Katie says, Dito, I asked you. I hope that answers your question. But I do like all of them. I just don't watch all of them as much as I watch others. Sword Energy said she just said it. The Brown Brian Hinton interview. Tegan, I think the police were on the right track at the beginning, and I guarantee that the next time they arrest, they'll come won't be wrongful. I think they are working hard to make sure everything is right. And you're probably right, Tegan. Look, what you all have to remember is that no law enforcement agency wants to be the one that didn't do the job right. Okay, no law enforcement wants to have that on their cover, on their resume, or be associated with that. So I can tell you they're going to do everything they can to get this thing solved, because if not, that's a big sore eye on them, and you have to know that. And it's huge in the in law enforcement world. It's huge. Credibility is everything. If you can't solve something that is so simple, and I'm not saying this case is simple, but what I'm saying is if you can't solve a case that's this big, should I say, then it doesn't look good for you. So I would think that the FBI, people calling sheriff's office investigators, they will all do their best because no one wants to have this hanging over your head. That's a fact. No doubt about it. LD. Okay, here we go. Here we go. LD's mother is a psychologist, is what I seen. I seen that too. I have seen that too. April. Quentin, there was a magnetic medical therapist in Casita whom was fired by Nancy in 2024, I think. I think there was somebody that was fired. I don't know if it was 2024 or a little bit later than that. So I'm not really sure. But yeah, there was somebody that lived there, but it was a while ago, Quentin. It was a while ago, no doubt about it. Sword Energy, Fugitive TV is really starting to grow on me like I am. Yeah, I like a lot of this kind of stuff. I've always been intrigued with the unknown, so all this is the unknown to me. Soaring Energy thinks I will look that up, TGM. Arizona, Desert Walker, you are dog. Thank you so much, Arizona. Marianne, did you watch Monk's Device episode? I did. I did. Yes, it was good. Thank you. Thank you for recommending that. April, Mark is awesome. Devices, yes. Marianne, I like too many. I like them all. I just watch some more than others, to be honest. And then as far as retired Ellie's, the interview room, I like, and of course, DD. Thank you so much, Soren Energy. I appreciate that. I do like the interview room a lot. Tegan, my favorites are Jason of Clutch, My Pearls, and Sleuth Intrigue. Has Jim also as he paints great pictures on what he sees. Amen. No doubt about it, Tegan. Arizona Desert said, I called it. Arizona says, I win. Marianne says, I love DD. Quentin says, DD number one. Arizona, I said it. I knew you would say the dog. I had to say the dog. Because if I don't think I'm the best, then what the hell am I doing here? You know what I mean? That's just how I roll, man. Kenny, laughing out loud. Good call, Arizona. Fan flowers, yes. Bark out loud. Always. Vimes, I enjoy coming here. Okay, so Ronald Lopez is supposedly selling everything and moving out and going to LA. So fast, so quickly. I wonder why. He must be on somebody's radar. That's for damn sure. Thank you for that, Vimes. Appreciate that. Kenny, haha, thanks for answering. You put me on the hot seat, my friend. Chicago, my Calico Kitty watching too. That's awesome. Tegan, Devil Dog, Booyah, Hoorah, Simplify. April, DD Rock, spread the word, like and subscribe, tell your friends and others. Thank you, April. Make sure you guys do that. Ollie, baby, another driver wasn't even there. 2 minutes, and Sue Ellen was right down there taking pictures of gentlemen and plates. Yes, says Soren Energy. Fugitive TV did a deep dive on the Iranian lady who owns a lot of patterns and lives in the casita. Interesting. Soaring Energy, yes. Fugitive TV did a deep dive on the Iranian, yes. She even owned a patent on how to erase DNA evidence, something like that. Wow, that's interesting. Definitely need to check her out. Quentin, yes, lady was Iranian, which connects to the recent war on buildup, possibly. Wow. All right, everybody. I think we're going to end it right here. We've been on just about almost 2.5 hours. So just want to tell you thank you, everybody. I appreciate you all. You guys are awesome. You guys do great. And I appreciate all the support. Be back tonight, maybe at 5, just depends. But just look, you might see me on at 5. But I just want to tell you all thank you. We are growing tremendously. Pass the word. Before you log out, click the likes, click the emojis, send all those things out there, man. It makes everything look better for all of us. Have a great day. God bless you all. Good weekend. And remember, everything, everything is common sense. Simplify, everybody. Chicago said, I subscribe. Good for you, Chicago. Thank you so much. God bless you.